The Arizona sun had only just cracked the horizon when Cole Brandt first saw Hare. That desert was dead quiet, too quiet save for the wind just rasping across the stone. He'd been out checking the edges of his new claim, a plot of dust, thorns, and old memories. When he caught a curl of smoke lifting from the canyon rim, he figured it was just another little fire. But when he dropped into the hollow, he found the wreck of a burned-out wagon, 2 dead folks and 1 girl still hanging on. Her wrists were tied, and 1 ankle was trapped beneath a shattered wagon wheel. She was dusty and scraped, her skin tough from the sun, but her eyes were sharp even through the hurt. She tried to pull back as he came closer, but the timber had her pinned. Cole knelt down, his shadow cooling her face. "Easy," he said gently, his voice low and growly. "I'm not gonna hurt you." She didn't buy it. Not for a second. He could read the disbelief in her stare, but she was just too spent to fight. Her breath was barely there, her lips dry and cracked. He cut the rope from her wrists and then heaved the wheel off her leg. She let out a gasp, not fear, but pure pride. She refused to give him a single sign of weakness, even as tears stung her eyes. He picked her up, holding her like something delicate, and rode through the dust storm back toward the ranch. The wind shrieked behind them, sounding like a terrible omen. She had passed out by the time they reached the barn. Cole gently set her on a pile of hay, brought over water, and started cleaning her cuts. Hours went by before she moved. When her eyes finally opened, confusion hit first, then a flash of defiance. "Where am I?" she managed to whisper. "Safe," he told her, though he felt a lie in his throat. She tried to sit up but cried out, clutching her ribs. "Don't move," he warned. "You've lost a lot of blood." She just glared at him. "You should have left me to the buzzards." Cole let out a breath, setting his hat on the floor. "Maybe," he admitted, "but I ain't got the kind of heart for that." Silence thickened the air in the barn. Outside, the horses shifted their weight, sensing the sudden tension between them. He poured water into a tin cup and offered it, but she just stared at it. "Drink," he said again, a little sharper this time. She paused, then took it, her gaze locked on his face. After a long moment, she muttered something he almost missed. An Apache phrase that sounded like a curse or perhaps a plea. When asked what it meant, she simply turned her head. "You'll find out soon enough." As the sun went down, he brought her some food, helping her prop herself up. But as he reached to lift her completely, she stopped him with a trembling hand. "Please don't carry me to bed," she said, her voice ready but firm. "Let me stand instead." He stopped dead, confused. He just watched her strain, pushing herself upright, her legs shaking hard, her grit stronger than her body. She stood barely, but she stood. The lantern light caught her face, and for the first time he didn't see fear. He saw fire. "I'm not broken," she whispered. Cole slowly nodded, a flicker of pure respect in his eyes. "Never thought you were." The desert wind howled again outside, but inside that old barn everything had changed. 2 strangers from 2 warring worlds stood in a tense silence, neither one knowing that by morning their fates would be tied together for good. He never asked her name that first night. He only knew this. Whatever horror she was fleeing, whatever burned wagon she left behind, it was coming for her. And this cruel, endless desert was about to judge whether his mercy was an act of strength or a fatal weakness. The hours scrawled by, thick with the smell of the rain that never arrived. Cole sat on the porch, his lantern barely glowing, staring out at the vast nothing beyond his property line. Inside the barn, the Apache girl slept restlessly, her breathing jerky, her injured arm wrapped tight. Her words wouldn't leave him. "You just started something you can't stop." They bounced around his skull like a message hammered into rock. He tangled with the Apache before he knew the cost when lines were crossed. But this felt different. This wasn't just a fight, this was a reckoning. The truth about this blood-soaked land was sleeping in his barn, and he was now fully involved. The wind picked up, shrieking through the rotten fence posts. Cole slowly got to his feet, rubbing the weariness from his eyes. He never intended to get involved, but something about her. Her courage, her stubbornness, her silent pain had gotten under his skin in a way he didn't grasp. He walked inside softly, his boots making dull thuds on the wood floor. The lantern was still casting shadows by her haybed. She tossed and turned, murmuring in her language. A fever taking hold, Cole knelt down, placing a cool, damp rag on her forehead. "You're burning up," he whispered. Her eyes fluttered open for a second, blurry and unfocused. "They'll kill you," she whispered, barely loud enough to hear. "If they find me here, they'll kill you too." Cole didn't even blink. "Let him try," he said softly. But he knew way down deep she was right. The closest Apache camp was maybe a day's ride off. If they believed he'd armed or captured one of theirs, blood would be shed before the sun rose. "What's your name?" he asked, leaning back against the barn post. She hesitated, fighting through the fever's fog. "Nellie?" she finally breathed out. "It means I am loved." Cole slowly nodded, the sound of the name rolling over his thoughts. "Nellie," he repeated as if tasting the reality of it. She studied him with tired eyes, trying to understand the man who logically should have just left her to die. "Why do you stay?" she asked him. Cole looked off into the dark. "Maybe because I've spent too long running," he said. "Maybe because I'm just sick of burying what matters. Far away," thunder growled. The deserteur hung heavy, smelling like a coming storm. Cole pulled the blanket higher around her shoulders. She winced but didn't push him away. "Rest up," he told her. "You're going to need it." He turned to go, but her hand shot out, weak yet determined, and grabbed his wrist. "You talk like a man who's seeing hosts," she whispered. Cole stared at her, trembling fingers wrapped around his arm. "Maybe I have," he admitted. "And maybe they're not finished with Mayet." As he stepped out into the night air, lightning tore the sky apart. The rain finally hit. First a gentle mist, then a hard drumming against the roof like the start of a war march. He looked toward the ridgeline where small, steady fires were burning. 2 fixed-toed lightning, 2 arranged to be an accident. His gut clenched up. Riders, he knew it before his eyes confirmed it. A line of shapes moving in the blackness, their torches bobbing like angry, glowing eyes. The Apache were here. Cole sprinted back into the barn, grabbed his rifle, and checked the load. Nellie sat bolt upright, the fear cutting right through her fever. "They're here," she breathed. He nodded, his face tight. "Yeah, and they aren't here to shake hands." Silence settled between them. The deep, expectant quiet just before a storm finally rips loose. Cole walked to the doorway. His movement smooth and practiced, his gaze locked on the approaching threat. He'd seen too many good men die over bad decisions. "He wasn't going to regret this one if they take me," Nellie said quietly. "Don't fight them." Cole turned, his voice low and rock solid. "That ain't who I am." Hessicled around into the chamber, raised his rifle, and waited as the rumbling thunder got closer. Not from the clouds, but from the hooves hitting the hard desert ground. The torchlight from the riders threw long, twitching shadows across the property. In that instant, Cole Brandt wasn't just a rancher anymore. He was a man trapped between 2 separate worlds, one that was fading away and one that was screaming to be noticed. And as the first fat raindrops splattered against the barn door, he understood that the time for turning back was over. The girl he rescued might be the very reason he lost it all. Or maybe, just maybe, the reason he finally found some peace.